I feel like there was only like one or two people that were true Vikings. I like soggy cereal, all of it.
I bet you got soggy underpants too.
Hello.
Welcome to At First Glance.
At first glance.
I'm Eric's.
I'm Dankson.
We got a request over the internets.
Yeah, we got a request from Jiggly Star. Requested Vinland Saga at first glance to review. It's a Viking anime, which is right up my alley.
On Netflix, streaming near you on your TVs.
Vinland Saga is only one season. It's 24 episodes, I believe. Let's jump right into it and start with the music.
The music,
boop-a-doo-dick.
the music, I gave it an 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
What, the intro or the outro?
I lumped them into both, but obviously the intro's a lot better than the outro. The intro is Survive, Said the Prophet. The song is Mu Kenjo. It's really like a modern metal type feel to it. It's got a lot of like hype and energy to it. A lot of screaming in the end. Obviously, I can't understand what they're saying, but the outro is Melee, I think.
Malay.
The song is called Drown. It's really vibey, like calm. It's definitely like an outro feel to it.
I gave the music, particularly the intro, a 9 or a 10. I'm pretty much like maxed out on this intro. I love the intro. The vocals are really good. I like the vocals a lot. I would listen to this song
Normally.
on its own, like in a playlist of mine or something. I really like it. I like how they end it with kind of like, it's almost like he just loses his mind and like,
Yeah, he's getting crazy.
yeah, he gets crazy at the end, and they cut it off there, and they don't go back, which I like. They kind of just like end it. It's definitely more modern, you know. Like a lot of animes are putting like metal stuff in there.
Yeah, if
intros.
you haven't seen the new Attack on Titan, I think it's season 4 intro. It's a band called Sim. The song is called The Rumbling. That's actually a really good song as well.
Now on to the art. I gave the art in Vinland Saga a 7 or an 8. I think the art is very well done. I think the animation is particularly well done. There's a lot of scenes where they're doing dynamic poses and dynamic angles, which are not that easy to do and to get like anatomically correct. And it seemed like they were showcasing, you know, almost like their talents with like certain scenes that didn't have to be angled or posed certain ways, but they did. You know, like other animation studios may go in a different direction to make shit a little easier or...
Yeah, getting those dynamic poses are almost like it's an extra. It's like a going above and beyond, trying to, you know, entice the viewer.
Yeah. They even had a first person scene where the main character Thorfinn, he's going through a kind of a line of guys, and it's when he goes up to where the archers are.
Yep.
And it's like first person, and he's going through and slashing them, and that's really hard to do first person.
Yeah.
Animation,
GoPro style.
yeah, it was really good. I think the art and animation are great. 7 or 8.
Yeah, I gave it a 7. I liked, like you were saying, like the dynamic poses. There's different perspectives. You know, it's not just straight on. They have some like lower or higher, or like you said, like a first person view. One thing I did wish they did was have a little more Viking style characters. Some of them didn't seem as Viking as I was hoping.
The imagery.
Yeah, like I wanted a lot of big, usual looking Vikings. A lot of them seemed like kind of small and like dainty, I guess. I don't know. I think they did a good job with like the gore and the fighting.
Yeah.
The animation was really smooth and well done. There was a lot of gore and blood, which was great. It's needed. It's Vikings, you know. You can't have like no blood.
Yeah,
you can't have it
be
PG.
brutal. Now to the voice. Yeah, I think the voice acting, if I were to give it a number, I would say it's a little complicated, my answer for this one. I think the voices were fine as far as the actors themselves doing their roles and everything. So I have no issue with the voices except the fact that they don't have any accents. You don't have any Norwegian or Swedish or Icelandic or any sort of accent in the voices. You know, I think, I mean, whether it was like legitimate Norwegian accents or people just acted them out, I think they should have had accents. You have different continents of people going against
you had
other
English, you had
continents.
Icelandic, you had
And they all sound the same.
I gave it 5.5. And it, like you were saying, it's not saying like the voice acting was bad. I think the voice acting was really good. The main character actually sounded a little bit like Tanjiro, which I love. The fact that they don't sound very Viking-like was a big dock for me. I would have liked to see seen a lot more like diversity in the accents in the language.
The dialogue, it seems it's not Viking. The characters are supposed to be Viking, and not only are their accents not Viking at all, almost their dialogue and culture itself seemed like not even Viking.
There was a lot of emotion. There was
Yeah.
a lot of driven, like exciting voicing that you would only see in a top tier anime.
Yeah, they did good.
Vinland Saga these nuts.
Soggy.
Let's get into the story.
Story.
I gave it a 5.5 again.
Damn, Jiggly Star.
I feel like the story was predictable. A couple things that were kind of cool in the story was that Thorfinn's dad died, but in kind of like a shisty, like shady way. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it wasn't honorable. I'll say that. And the second one was that they didn't kill Thorfinn right off the bat. So that I thought Thorfinn was going to end up escaping and becoming like this big Viking and kind of go after him. But otherwise, I think the story was like the whole middle section was a little boring to me. It was repetitive. He kept wanting to
slowed
duel
down.
the same guy who killed his father over and over again. And
Askeladd.
a bunch of stuff they could have done to make the story a little more interesting. But if you're not going to do that, I think the story or the episode should have been a lot less. So they could have made it like a 10 episode series.
15 or something.
Yeah, 10 or 15. 24, like I said, there was a huge chunk where it got repetitive and boring. But on the flip side, there was a lot of good to it. The fighting was amazing. How they were like kind of being shisty to like each other, not just in the clan, but like different like nations.
It's all power struggle amongst everyone. For the story, I would rate this story at a 6.5. My main issue is similar to yours. I think Thorfinn. Yeah. I don't believe that Thorfinn would have been left alive in if these were Vikings. I don't believe that Askeladd would have given a about him. There's a reason why Askeladd allows him to live and he kind of does like what happened to him in a way. I think if they had simply made Thorfinn escape when his father was killed and they would time skip and he joins Askeladd's crew
Almost
without
like
Askeladd knowing, right? And then does what he has to do. I think it would have been at least more like, all right, at least
A little more
yeah,
interesting.
he kind of infiltrated it rather than like, oh yeah, this guy who just killed his dad just allows him to live.
Yeah, he's tagging along.
And his father was killed in a not honorable way. He wants revenge by having an honorable duel with the guy that killed his father. And I don't believe that either. I believe that if his father was killed in a non-honorable way, that being a Viking, he would have killed him in any way he needed to.
Well, he
as
would have
revenge.
chopped him in his sleep.
Yeah, he would have got him in his sleep. I don't see the point of having an honorable duel to get revenge on his father that was killed not honorably. I don't understand it. I don't like that. I
feel like there was only like one or two or a handful of people that were true Vikings. Like Thorkel reminded
Thorkel
me
was
of
cool.
Vikings. He was very big, strong, and crazy. There wasn't like a ton of Vikings in there.
Yeah.
There wasn't talk of Valhalla much.
the gods weren't mentioned often.
Right.
That's one of my main issues with this show. There's this disconnect that I have with this show being a Viking show because the accents aren't there. The imagery isn't fully there. The verbiage and the dialogue is not accurate. And I don't mean specifically, I'm not a historian. I don't mean it's like, oh, certain words. It's like the attitude of them. They were like pompous almost and like, "Meh," like as if it's like a fun thing. I don't believe that it's all Viking.
Yeah, it makes it a little less believable when there's a lot playing against it, like the imagery, the accents, and their attitude and character in general.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away from the Viking aspect. I feel like if this show wasn't about Vikings, my expectation wouldn't be so high.
If they were all just like Englishmen,
Right.
I'd be like, okay, this
makes
seems
sense.
right. But you have Norsemen and Englishmen looking and sounding the exact same. I agree that I think Thorkel and Bjorn, who was Askeladd's like right hand, I think they were like the two best examples of what Viking was. Thorkel was a Viking and he chose the English side basically because he wanted to fight powerful people, and he thought that Askeladd was the one that would be able to give him a good fight. So that's more of a Viking mentality of it's almost like selfish glory in battle.
Right.
You know, and I don't believe that it's Viking.
On the plus side, Canute was an interesting character to me. The way he developed throughout the story.
Yeah.
He started, he was like this timid kind of pushover type of person, and then he ended up becoming the king, and he grew up to have this attitude like he knows he's in control and he's going to take advantage of it.
Well, you find out Canute's actually a girl.
So Canute ended up being a really interesting character. The king, I liked and disliked. I liked him because he was just like this strange dude that was like conniving like right off the bat. But I didn't like him because it almost seemed like he was just like this fat, lazy slob. And like you were saying, if that were to be the case in like Viking era, you'd be slaughtered. You'd be slaughtered.
He wouldn't be king if he was not respected by his men. Askeladd was going ham everywhere, and his men followed him to the end. The king, they put like this mystery around it. They didn't even like show his face like in the beginning, and like you thought something, and the king even said, when we go to war in the summer or whatever, that I will lead the armies. And he didn't do nothing.
He was a slob.
It was like kind of maybe it was they were trying to play on like the laziness of the politics in the story, and how like the leaders aren't really meant, like they're not really leaders. Maybe it was on purpose, but Viking kings were on the front lines, and they did what they did and were respected.
I did like Askeladd's character.
Yeah.
He was pretty cool. I like that he kept giving Thorfinn the chance to like keep dueling him over and over.
Yeah.
Until he was just pretty much like ready to die. It was kind of a twist in the story that I like, that Thorfinn didn't get to kill him. He's like, go live your life.
Really, I mean, Askeladd really and Thorfinn, that whole dynamic really kind of pushed the show, and that's kind of like why you watched it. Is this guy going to be able to kill this dude and get revenge?
That was the driving factor of this anime
which
series.
Drove it. It got me to watch it. So yeah, it's not terrible. I have issues with some of the things Viking related, but other than that, it's not terrible. I enjoyed. There's plenty that I enjoyed about this show.
Yeah, we're not totally bashing it. I did enjoy a lot of the aspects of the anime series. So don't be afraid to keep pushing your comments and suggesting some anime for us.
Yeah. Oh, comment if there's something that you think we're not discussing about Vinland Saga, and we're like,
there could be plenty of stuff that we missed.
Yeah, I appreciate the suggestion. It wasn't a waste of time. Yeah, there was redeeming qualities of the show. Curious if there's another season.
I think there's word of a second season, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment.
Ring the notification bell. A bing, a bing,
a ding dong.
And don't forget, brush your teeth and tell your mom you love her.